Hey guys, this is Tarot by Tess coming to you just with a little vlog. Um, Today is April 2nd, which means it's the second day of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and it's the main campaign that I do, mainly because there are very, very, very few women that I know out there who have not been raped, and I know a few men who have been raped. Just over the years, I'd say at least a decade, I've done research on the topic, and it's so prevalent. I mean, it's a silent epidemic if you weren't aware. It's more common than autism, it's more common than breast cancer, and yet we all feel comfortable advocating for that topic because rape isn't nice. It's not nice to experience, and it's not nice to talk about. It's something that you don't talk about at the dinner table, and that's the problem. It's a silent epidemic because people don't know how to talk about it, and it's so common also that it's hard to talk about it because most people who are talking about it have been assaulted. It's something that people need to start talking about, even if they think it's inappropriate. And I'm not talking about during a job interview. Everybody knows when it's truly inappropriate to talk about anything. I would hope so. If not, there's social skills classes you could take. But I think it's really important to know, just making people aware of the statistics. Statistics are based just on information that's given, and hardly anybody reports sexual assault just because there's really no recompense for doing so, and there's more harm than good sometimes. Several people that I know never reported it, and I think that's an okay thing to do because there's just not always a resolution to these types of things. It's also something that plagues many people when they don't report. So I think it's a good idea to report it just so you can say that you did and you have a record somewhere that this happened to you. And it can also be a point of moving on. Like, okay, on this day this happened, on this day I told, and now I'm letting it go a little at a time. I don't think rape ever truly goes away as far as what's happened to someone, but I do think people get better and they move on from things. And I just wish that people would talk about it, because believe it or not, it's not a crime to talk about rape. You would think it was, as silent as everyone is. I know there's hard things to talk about, like it's family members, or people you work with. It could be a lot of different things. And those are things that we just have to be courageous about and talk about it anyway. So for those of you who want to do something, just look up some statistics, mention it, maybe on a Facebook page, anything, and make people aware. I mean, give them the onslaught. I mean, give them statistic after statistic, video after video, whatever it is that you need to do to get that word out so that people realize that yes, it's happening a lot, and no, it's not okay. Also, just this idea when we do awareness is to bring about the fact that it's not something that we all know as stranger danger, that it's anybody, and there's no way you can know who's who unless they're wearing a sign that says rapist. Okay, there is no way to know. So for those of you who have been assaulted, which I'm sure probably a lot of you are, there's no reason to feel guilty. There's like nothing you could do differently. The only thing that could be different, that could have changed the outcome, was if the rapist had made another choice. Okay? There's other things that you could do. Well, for instance, Tuesday, I know there's a county in Virginia. They're doing something called Teal Out. Teal is that blue-green color, kind of like this cool little container I got. I'm going to start drinking water and tea and stuff in here. Got it at Cracker Barrel. I thought it was really cool. I love seahorses because they're like monogamous and the man has to carry the baby. I just think that's awesome. But just, it's called Teal Out. And even though one county in Virginia is doing it, who says like none of the rest of us can do it, you know? So Tuesday, I'll be wearing all teal, a teal shirt, teal skirt, any kind of scarves I can find. Just teal out. And when people ask you why are you wearing all teal, you can tell them, well, you know, teal is the color of the ribbon for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And also April 26th is Denim Day, where you wear jeans. And normally jeans aren't that big of a deal, but particularly in my profession where you're not allowed to wear jeans unless it's a Friday. Well, Denim Day is always on a day that's not a Friday. I think it's always a Tuesday, I believe. So you wear jeans. People say, hey, you know, why are you wearing jeans? And then you can explain to them why you're wearing jeans. Different things like that. Also, there's a website called aftersilence.org. And you can go on there and there's different forums where you could share your story. You can just commemorate with other people. But they also have a shop. And on the shop, they have different items you could buy. Some of them have shirts or jackets or cups or pillows. And they all talk about surviving. But one of them says, you know, this is what a survivor looks like. And it has a teal ribbon. Something like that. You could even have that. And people will notice it and they'll ask you, you know, what did you survive? And you can explain if you felt you were brave enough to do that. So it's something that's really important to me. It's been important to me because only recently have I met people in like the last 5 years who have not been raped. And I think it's important to know that the people I know who have not been raped have grown up in small cities or small towns. So it is more likely to happen if you live in a large city. I'm trying to think, you know, my mom has been raped, my sister's been raped, a lot of my friends have been raped, boys and girls, co-workers have been raped, just so many people. And you don't really find out about it until later because they don't tell you. It's just something you just discover someday, or they tell you at some particular point in your life. So some of you out there could have relatives and friends who've been assaulted and they just haven't said anything, okay? So I think it's a really important thing. We should all be trying to make people aware of sexual assault and educating people on it, so that way when we teach our young boys how to treat other people, because believe it or not, a majority of rapists are men, but they're not raping just women, they're raping everybody, men, women, children. And it's a big deal that it's one particular gender that's doing this, okay? And so we need to be able to raise this particular gender in a way that's going to leave our later society with less rape. And it's possible. We just have to make people aware of rape culture and what it looks like, because a lot of people don't understand it. People argue of what it is all the time. So you yourself have to come up with an idea of what rape culture looks like. You can Google it on the internet. I once had a boyfriend who wanted to buy me pepper spray. And I was offended. He said, what? And I said, well, did you buy yourself some pepper spray? And he said, no. He said, I wanted you to be safe out there. And I said, you know, I'm probably more safe on the streets than I would be, you know, going to a friend's house. Because most rapes happen in a house with somebody you know. And the gender that's most likely to be assaulted on the street whether it's rape or just a physical assault, men are more likely to be assaulted on the street. So I was saying, well, you're gonna need this pepper spray more than I am. And I was offended because he singled me out as being a woman, and because I was a woman, I needed additional protection with pepper spray. And the statistics actually go against that. And also it's saying it was putting the onus on me to protect myself. And he was very upset that I was offended. He was saying, like, that's not what I meant. I just wanted you to be safe. And I said, I understood. But it's still part of rape culture that our culture in general decides that women have to take it upon themselves not to get raped. So, yes, this man over there plans to rape you. If you hadn't walked by, he would have raped the next person. But you, who has no idea what's about to happen, you have to protect yourself. So, God forbid, you didn't wear tennis shoes and you can't run away now. Or, God forbid, you don't have your rape whistle, which won't help you for shit. Okay? I mean, you've all heard of the woman, I think it was in New York, where she was raped and murdered in front of a bunch of people, and everybody thought the next person was going to call the police, and she died. I think they're making a movie about it, actually. There's lots of things like that. So one thing about rape culture and rape awareness that we can really hone in on is not being a bystander. If you've seen the It's On Us campaign by the Democratic president that we used to have and his vice president, that campaign is probably the best thing I think that came out of that presidency, just in my opinion, because it did talk about bystander intervention. And that means that every single person in the world is responsible for speaking up when they see something that they know is not right, something that might be rape culture, something where a guy is being very insistent, or a woman is really just like clinging onto a guy. I mean, just different things, okay? Things that aren't right and could possibly lead to an assault if somebody doesn't step in. Like, we have to be the people who step in and say, hey, this 27-year-old woman is allowed to have 3 drinks if she wants to, but you're not allowed to rape according to the law. So I'm going to take her home and make sure she gets to her bed safely without being assaulted. Okay. Just common, decent human decency, okay? This is what we're talking about, being a decent human being. A lot of people say that's not my problem, or they're too scared to do something. I fully understand that too. That's a real issue. And we need men, for those of you, few men, my 20%, for those of you men who are watching this video, what women need from you and other men as well is we need you to stand up to other men when you see these types of things going on. I can think, for instance, with that, was it the Brock Turner rape case, where she was being raped behind a dumpster, and 2 men saw him kind of like dragging her, and they saw her doing something to her, and so they got off their bicycles and went over there and chased him down, and they were just trying to see what happened. Okay, that's like an extreme case. Okay, that's not how it is every time. It might be telling your friend, hey, that joke wasn't funny. Okay, you just basically told a joke about a woman being violated in the most worst way. Also, people think it's a women's issue, and it's not. It's an every person issue, because although men are the ones that are raping the most. Okay, there are women out there that rape, but rape in general affects everybody. Your moms are being raped, your sisters are being raped, your children are being raped, you're being raped. Pretty much, if you walk down the street, you're going to be surrounded with at least 4 or 5 people who've been raped in their lifetime. And if they haven't, they will be. I mean, that's the reality of it. The statistic is 1 in 4 women being sexually assaulted and 1 in 33 men. And when it comes to child abuse, it's actually 1 in 6 men, so it's a little bit more. So it's more prevalent for children to be abused when it comes to the male gender. I also think that if you're a man and you think that this is not your issue to deal with, think about it this way. Men are out there committing domestic violence, just like women are. Okay, they're committing domestic violence, which can be violent and lead to rape and all these other things. And when you're a young child and you see your mother being beaten and probably she's been raped, that affects you because you see that and you care about your mother. Everything, we're all in this life together. And so for those who are making the criminal decision to harm somebody else that way, it's up to the rest of us who don't make those decisions to do something and intervene. I also think that it's important that men realize that women in general, when they are raped, they lose trust. They lose a sense of security pretty much forever. And it's making men look bad in general. And we all know that not every man is a rapist. And so when you let other men get away with talking about behavior that to you would seem rapey, or get away with talking about jokes or anything that has to do with rape, and you let them get away with that, they're making those kinds of ideas or jokes known to you and probably other groups of men. And when you guys don't say anything, you're letting them think that it's okay to be that way because they're not getting any kind of resistance. So they just think that that's how society is and that's okay to be that way, and it's not, because these people may have some wires crossed, okay? And so when you confront them and say that's not cool, and you have other people saying things like that, then they're more likely not to do it, or you're more likely to intervene, or they're more likely to think next time, like, hey, this is something that I'm not really supposed to do. It's not accepted. It's not boys will be boys. I could get in real fucking trouble if I do this shit. So women need you to stand up, and women need women to stand up. There's a man, Jackson Katz, Katz. I really like him. He's a sexual assault motivational speaker, I guess. I mean, not motivating people to commit it, but he's an awareness issue bringer. I don't know what you call him. Maybe you can look up his title. But he's really good, and he brings out the information that's really important for sexual assault awareness. All right, so that was my spiel. You may hear more of it within the month of April, but since we just started, tomorrow, April 3rd, Tuesday, April 4th is Teal Out Day, and then April 26th, I don't know what day it is, I'm pretty sure it's a Tuesday or Thursday, you wear denim jeans. Okay, and then you can always buy other materials that you want. Wear teal any day you want. But just make sure that you're not being silent about it, because there's bound to be at least one person in your life who's been sexually assaulted. And do everybody a service and make that, for the next generation, there's one less person, or two less people, or three. And eventually we may get to a world where rape is not prevalent, or more prevalent than cancer, or more prevalent than autism, or any other kinds of awareness campaigns that come around that deal with women or deal with the month of April. Okay. In June is PTSD awareness, which I also do a small campaign for. And PTSD can be a result of sexual assault. In fact, I think it's the most common result of rape in women, or rape is the most common cause of PTSD in women. So, and it's also a cause for men as far as domestic abuse, seeing those kinds of things, and also possibly being raped, depending on who you are. Alright, guys, that's my 20-minute spiel. Be happy.